Before we get into this one, if you could just hit that subscribe button down below, that would mean a massive amount to me. But without further ado, let's get into another round of transfer news. So today's video is about Charles de Ketelaere, and I think for the purposes of the video, I'm just going to call him Charles because I have no idea how to pronounce his name. Now, Charles plays for Club Bruges in the Belgian league, and apparently AC Milan are also very interested in the £40 million man. Now, he is 21 years old and he's an attacking midfielder who can also play as a striker as well and has done a few times for Bruges this season. He's got 14 goals and 7 assists this last season. I keep saying this season, but it's obviously over now. So 14 goals and 7 assists last season, which is a really, really good return for somebody who's playing an attacking midfielder with just a few games as a striker. What type of player is Charles then? Well, he's hard-working. From what I've seen, he loves tracking back. I've seen so many times where he's been tackling players in his own box or in his own defensive third and then trying to send the ball up the pitch again. So he's hard-working. He's a Leeds type of player. He is a little bit clumsy from what I've seen. He likes to take heavy touches. He likes to make crashing tackles, which is obviously all things that get the Leeds crowd on their feet. But to me, he looks a bit uncontrolled and a bit clumsy. He has scored all those goals and got those assists, which is very good. But like I said, again, with the Cody Gakpo video, if you want to check that out, that'll be in the cards up there. He is playing in a league that is nowhere near the level of the Premier League. And aside from Club Bruges and maybe Genk and Ghent, the top teams in the Belgian league are half decent. Below that, they're not very good. And not a very good standard of football compared to the Premier League. It's probably lower than the Championship level. And I don't think, for me, he is a player that I think we should go in for. Now, the reason for that is he's going to cost £40 million. And for a club like Leeds, that is a massive, massive risk. If this player was £15 million, I would say, yes, go for it, do this deal. But at £40 million, which is what he's being valued at and what AC Milan might pay for him, I don't think it's a good idea. I think at the stage that Leeds are at the moment, we need to be making smart investments. And so far we have. In players like Mark Roca and Rasmus Christensen, paying £10 million each for those two. Very smart investments. Spread your risk, spread your money. Don't put down massive amounts of money on one player expecting it all to work out, especially if that player is only 21 years old. Now, there are better options, and at first I thought that Charles would be £15 million, £20 million, and at that point we could probably bring him in before selling anybody. But if we bring him in, it will be because Rafinha has been sold. And I don't think he's who I want to bring in if we sell Rafinha. I think for me, and like I've said, watch my video from the other day, it's Cody Gakpo. It's definitely Cody Gakpo for me, and if you want to know why, check out that video. But Charles, £40 million, it's just too much money for me. He's 21 years old, he's not proven, he's playing in the Belgian league, and he's done very well there, granted. But I just don't think it's worth the risk. I think if Leeds were in the Europa League or the Champions League consistently and you paid £40 million for a player like that, that's the sort of transfer you'd expect to see. But if Leeds suddenly splash £40 million on a 21-year-old from the Belgian league who had no track record of proving himself in elite football, I don't think fans would accept it. Well, actually, I don't think I would accept it. I think a lot of fans would say, oh, they're actually spending money and be happy with that. But I just don't like the risk factor. I think at this stage, because we've just nearly been relegated, we need to sort of spread our risk, basically. And by that, I mean, instead of buying this guy for £40 million, you could get 2 players for that price and a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, maybe not as much of a high ceiling, but just something that is going to do you for now and the next few years, rather than somebody who's going to come good in like 3 or 4 years and then be sold for loads of money. I know I made a similar argument the other way for Cody Gakpo, and I am a massive hypocrite, but I think I just like the player more with Cody Gakpo. I like the way he plays. I think it's suits the Premier League more. I just think that there's not as much time on the ball in the Premier League, and the way that Charles de Ketelaere plays, I think he's going to struggle if he came to the Premier League. And for me, because he's in the attacking midfielder position, we've already signed Brendan Aronson. I think I'd rather go for an out-and-out striker, because this guy can play up front. He can play up front and has done a few times this season. But I think for me, I'd definitely rather go for a proper out-and-out striker, somebody who has been doing that all their life, and that is their role, and somebody who can come in, know exactly what they're doing, and just play there. A bit more experience maybe as well. And so I don't think for me I want Charles de Ketelaere, if that is how you say his name. For me, it's got to be Cody Gakpo coming in on the right wing, and then I think we add another striker as well. I don't think at the moment we invest in another attacking midfielder. I think we need a striker and we need a left back. And for me, left back is very worrying, because it seems all the noises from the club are saying that they're not going to invest in a left back. But I think that's one of our most problem positions, especially given the way that Firpo's been absolutely torn apart a couple of times this season. I just don't trust him there, and I feel like we need to invest some money there. And especially if we are going to be spending something like £40 million, you could spend £20 million or £25 million on a backup striker, and then £10 to £15 million on another backup left back. All these targets that we've looked at in the past, like I think Sergio Gomez, Javi Galán, there's a few from the Spanish league and from different leagues. I mean, even if they aren't the best, there's a chance that just having backup for Junior Firpo massively helps him out, because he's quite injury prone as well. So I feel like we should definitely do a bit more reconnaissance, which is a good word, in the left back position, and try and bring in somebody there. And for me, that's the argument against Charles de Ketelaere mostly, is how much it would cost. I think £40 million is way out of the realms of reality for me for this player. I just don't think it's a good deal. I think we should spread our money elsewhere, like I've said. And like I say, if you get a backup out-and-out striker, then that just puts fans at ease more. I think we need to fill the positions we need to fill, rather than having players that are sort of in and out of positions. And for me, that's why I don't want to sign this player. Let me know though down in the comments if you've seen of him, if you've heard more of him than I have, and what you think of him, to be honest. And obviously, seeing this video, you might have already seen the Cody Gakpo, so in the comments you can comment which one you'd rather have out of these two, make your arguments there, and I'll get back to as many of you as humanly possible. But yeah, thanks for this one. I am now, like I've mentioned a few times, on the Just Joe Football Show every midweek fix, and that is 8 or 8:30 every Wednesday night. We talk about all things football, we have a laugh, we have a bit of a banter, and we also actually get into the nitty-gritty of current club affairs, news, all that sort of thing. So for all your Leeds news and conversation and chat, check out that as well, which I am on every week now. So thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you next time on Leeds Lately.